Top of the morning. You already know what it is. You already know what I'm about. I'm Tony Barge, the masterpiece mouthpiece, speaking so eloquently and fluently with that spectacular vernacular called talent management ism, talent acquisition ism. You know what I'm saying? So, today's message is a good message, but before we go any further, make sure you hit that like button. I always like to start off with a short story. I love telling my stories. I really truly do. And today's message is a very very important message. And before we start talking about my one of my clients' short stories, I'm going to tell you a short story about one of my employees and how it relates to my client. Well, once upon a time, this is early on in my headhunting career, I had an employee, Troy. Troy was his name. He had a lot of potential. He was really, really a great guy. But he only one small problem. And his problem was he had problems accepting responsibility or accepting his mistakes. He had that problem. So I had to call him in my office one day because I had warned him about 3, 4 times. His office one of the office manager had warned him 2, 3 times too as well. And we had did everything in the world to really, work with this employee Troy because we thought he had a lot of potential. So I called him in the office. I said, "Hey Troy, you're performing way below performance. You're not making your numbers. What would you do if you was in my position, Troy?" And he got to commencing to go into this excuse. And it was his excuse was everybody else's fault except for his own fault. It was the office manager's fault. It was the hiring manager's fault. It was even my fault. And I said, "Okay, well, you're about to learn a huge lesson today, Troy." I said, "Everybody can't grow in life unless they can accept the truth. And here's the truth for you. You're fired. I wish the best for you. Good luck on your future endeavors. You ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here. Good luck. God bless, Troy." So he left. And then shortly after he left, I received a call from one of my clients. So Ruth, she calls me. And Ruth, when she calls me, she starts, I could hear the frustration in her voice, the hesitation. She sounded kind of, really kind of depressed a little bit. She said, "Tony, I'm having some problems." I said, "What type of problem are you having?" She said, "Well, I'm having a problem at work." I said, "Well, why are you having this problem at work?" Well, she said, "Tony, I made a mistake." I said, "Well, Ruth, what type of mistake did you make?" She said, "I hired 3 new people that weren't suitable for the position." And I said, "Well, okay. Well, everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect, Ruth. I get it. So what did you do about this mistake?" She said she did nothing. She pretty much swept it under the rug. And I asked her, I said, "Well, Ruth, what held you back from taking accountability of your mistake?" And she said, well, she didn't feel that it was her fault. She said it was, other people's fault and some of the other executives that were involved in the decision making process. It was partially their fault too. Even though she was 100% in charge of who getting the final say on who gets the position, she just felt like it wasn't her fault. So ultimately, I told her, I said, "Hey, Ruth, everybody can't grow if they can't accept the truth. You know that, right?" And she said, "Yeah, I've heard that before." I said, "Okay, well, first things first, you got to do what's right. These 3 new hires, of course, you got to do what you need to do with them." So she took these 3 new hires and she fired these 3 new hires. And then she made amends to her colleagues for her mistake, which in turn helped her, the moral of the story, which in turn helped her elevate and accelerate her career. You know what I'm saying? Because it helped her make that turning point, that transition in her career where she was able to accept responsibility. She brought it to her colleagues. They accepted her and forgave her for the mistake that she made, and life went on. Later, about a year later or so, she came back to me, and I later placed her with one of my Fortune 500 CEO clients, and her career is flourishing right now. But she learned early on in life, you can't grow unless you learn how to accept truth and learn how to accept responsibility. And that's what today's message is going to be about. So make sure you pay attention, make sure you listen, because this is going to be some really useful information. I'm dropping a diamond in your lap right now. I'm dropping a diamond in your lap. So make sure you do what's necessary, do the right thing. So here's the message of the day. Okay? You know what I'm saying? So you made a mistake at work. Here's how to fix it. We all make mistakes. That's inevitable, right? But owning up to your blunder at work isn't always easy. I think it's hard because to admit that you're wrong is not something that's comfortable for most people, especially in situations like work where the stakes can be extremely high. Your first instinct is to protect yourself against any negative consequence. You know what I'm saying? Following a gut reaction to sweep the mistake under the rug or deflect the blame won't serve you well in a workplace. You know what I'm saying? Instead, consider these 3 expert-backed tips the next time you drop the ball at work. Let's put some love in your body. You know how I am. Gotta drink some tea. You know I love my green tea. Put some love in your body because it will love you back. Okay? Good. Continuing on with the message. We're going to cover 5 points today. Okay? The first point is accept responsibility as soon as possible. Like I said, accept responsibility as soon as possible. You know what I mean? This one carries a lot of weight. Any mistake you make, you want to own up to it first. You want to do what you need to do as quickly as possible so that the festering wound doesn't get worse. Even if you're only responsible for 1% of what happened, you have the obligation to take care of that 1% before you start pointing fingers at anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Good. Are you tracking? Excellent. Number 2, understand the ramifications of your mistake. Some mistakes could have a crippling effect that impacts your co-workers, your clients, and others. Part of owning your mistake is backing up, taking a 360 view of the fallback. Okay? In a lot of organizations, your work is a cog in the large system. If it creates more pain for someone else, you need to understand the impact of your mistake and address all the folks you were impacted. Did you slip up? Results in a missed deadline or loss in revenue or someone else having to work extra hours? Part of the business maturity is understanding the mistake's ramifications and directly apologize to anyone who was affected. You know what I mean? Make sure you apologize. Number 3, make a plan to prevent it from never happening again. You know what I mean? Let me explain to you exactly what I mean. Unless it was one-off mistake that unlikely to reoccur, part of making it right is creating a system to prevent it from repeating itself again. This involves reverse engineering your mistake, pinpointing exactly where the mistake went wrong at. From there, communicate it with the affected party what you put in place to make sure it doesn't happen again. At the end of the day, people don't want assurance, they want a plan. The 4th, get ahead of the gossip. You understand me? Get ahead of the gossip, like I said. Own your own story. Take control of your narrative before the words get out that something went sideways. In the absence of information, people write their own stories and come up with their own version of the facts. So that's why it's important to be in front of your story and not behind it. You know what I mean? The last thing you want to do is to be the subject of office gossip. Let me drink some more tea. My throat gets dry. You gotta put some love in your body because it'll love you back. You know what I'm saying? Good. So the last thing you want to do is to be in a subject of office gossip, especially considering how easy it is for things to get lost in translation once people start playing the telephone game. You know what I mean? So transparency paired with sincere apology is the way to go. Experts also recommend asking a trusted colleague ask them for their perspective. Do they have any advice that they could give you in order to help you bounce back faster from the mistake you made? Number 5, See your mistake as a teachable moment. You know what I mean? Are you tracking? Good. It's more than possible to learn something valuable from your mistake. I call it falling forward. In other words, quiet your ego. Take good look inward to discover the lessons you can take away from the experience in order to continue growing. The upside is trial and error does appear to help us, learn better in life. Nobody likes to be wrong, especially in full view of their boss, but setting things right helps you earn the kind of reputation that leads to a successful and profitable career in life. If after trying these above tips and you're still experiencing problems at your workplace, bouncing back from your mistake, you may want to talk to a third-party recruiting firm like my company, RNA Search Inc., so that they can start your new job search for you. You understand me? In conclusion, these are the tips on how to fix a mistake at work. Apply this uncommon information to bring restoration to your situation. I hope you never want as long as you live, and you live as long as you want. And make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share it with others. I really appreciate it. I love you guys, and have a fabulous day.